Hey guys, I did it. I finally got monetized on YouTube. This is the second time around doing it. The channel I had before got demonetized. But I've been trying this YouTube thing for years, on and off. This is like the fifth channel. Still no real success. This time I decided to start my second gospel piano tutorial channel. I started one like 12 years ago. Didn't stick with it. Wish I would have, because I would have been a lot farther along if I would have just stuck with it and did it for like 12 years instead of stopping. So now I decided to do it again. This time with the premise of holding myself accountable, because one of the things that becomes hard, especially when you're playing an instrument, is your will to practice. That has always been a big issue for me from day one, is the will to practice. I would have a hard time practicing. I wouldn't devote enough time to practice. And of course, when you're trying to learn an instrument and you don't practice, it stifles your growth. It stifles your ability to play. And so, when I was a teenager, instead of practicing, I was doing my thing because I had friends and a lot of distractions. And, I was busy. I was doing a lot in high school and whatnot. And so I wasn't devoting enough time to practice. And so when I grew up as an adult, playing in the black church, it's you can't be mediocre in the black church. I mean, I guess of course you can, and they'll let you play and stuff. And of course, I was getting gigs. Soon as I started playing, I was getting gigs, because there's a lot of churches, and churches need musicians. So I played for a lot of the churches in my surrounding area. But I wasn't getting good because I wasn't practicing. And so this started to show into adulthood. So one of the main problems, especially playing gospel music, is knowing how to play in every key. It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. It takes hours of practice to learn how to play in every key. You have to learn multiple songs in 12 keys. And that in itself becomes a problem. It's a big problem. It's a huge problem. And a lot of people don't work themselves through that. They're not able to successfully at least get 12 songs in all 12 keys. That's a hard thing to do. And how I started to think about YouTube is, well, why don't I use this as a way to hold myself accountable to more practice? Now, in my adult years, I already overcame the issue of playing in all 12 keys, because the way my story goes is, I was playing for churches and stuff and doing my thing. And then all of a sudden I landed this big gig in my town. I got hired to play for a big Baptist church. They had like 800 members. And I had to learn like 20 songs in 2 weeks to take over as musician for this church. I don't think you heard me. I had to learn like 20 songs in 2 weeks. Yeah. And so this was in the mid 2000s or whatever. So there's still cassette tapes and stuff. So they had a whole bunch of cassette tapes to give me, so I could take it home on my tape recorder and learn all the songs. Now, if you're one that don't know how to play in every key, this automatically creates a problem. Automatically creates a problem. Because songs in the church are in different keys. You have to learn them in all keys. You just never know. And if you're not familiar with the key of A, and you got a quartet song that's in the key of A, well, you got to get familiar with the key. And if you're not familiar with it, it's going to take way longer for you to learn that song because your ear's not attuned to that key. And so the trick would be for me is to take the song, get my keyboard, transpose the A to my most familiar key that I would know back in the day, and that was A flat. So I would transpose the key of A to A flat, which is a half step. A is a half step above A flat. Okay. And so I would learn the songs that I would need to know in A flat. And then luckily for me, this church at the time had an organ, one of those newer organs at the time that had transpose buttons on it. It was called the Hammond XB3 organ. And so when I first got there, I was able to kind of, get my way through it a little bit. I did some stuff in A flat, but that wasn't sustainable. There was too many songs to learn. This church had 5 choirs, and they did 5 songs every Sunday that I had to learn. A lot of these were songs I didn't know. So eventually I couldn't do that method anymore of learning the songs in my familiar key and just transpose when I get to the church. That became kind of unsustainable because this church traveled a lot too. So what if we went to a guest church and that guest church didn't have an organ with transpose? Then I would have to bring a keyboard with the ability to transpose on it. You get caught out real quick if you did some mess like that. So it was like, all right, let me try to learn these songs in the original key. And so that's what I started doing. All the songs that I had to learn for the church, I just started learning them in the original key. Now it took longer, it was a little bit harder, but eventually it got easier. And then all of a sudden, before you knew it, I was able to go anywhere, not take a whole setup with me of like an organ well, not an organ, but a keyboard with an amp and all that. I didn't have to do all that. I was able to just go in any church and play whatever instrument they had because I knew the songs in the original key. I didn't have to hide behind the transpose button anymore. But it just came out of nowhere where all of a sudden I was just able to go ahead and play any key and not worry about the transpose button. So fast forward to recent times now, I'm able to go and play and not worry about the transpose button. I haven't used the transpose button in almost 15 years, something like that. But now I'm finding myself where I want to get better and I'm not practicing like I should. And there's an old saying, and I'm going to butcher it, but it goes, I'm going to paraphrase it. It says something like, if you want to learn something, teach it. And so I was like, okay, I could use this as an actual tool to motivate me to practice, because it's hard to get motivation to sit down at that piano and practice through things. Well, for me it was. I had no motivation to do it. And also, just before the pandemic, I quit the Big Baptist Church because they was having financial problems. They wanted to lower my pay. And I was like, you want me to do the same amount of work for lower pay? No. So I quit. But If you know anything about the story, this church put me through hell, basically. And it turned me off to playing for churches in general. It actually turned me off from just playing in general. And so there came a period of time when I stopped playing, period. I wouldn't play at home. I wouldn't play at nobody's church. I would joke around and say, I'm retired. I don't play piano no more. I'm retired. And this went on for some years, actually. Now, my son is a drummer. He's 16 now. But his teacher, his drum teacher, my good friend, came to me and was like, yo, James, do you mind if Jaden plays a gig at this church I play for? They need a drummer. And I think Jaden would be perfect for this gig. And I said, of course. And at the time, Jaden was 12. I said, sure. I think because that would be perfect for him. Because one thing is true. Whether if you're a beginner, if you begin to play gigs and you're playing live, you're going to get good just by doing that. And that happened to me as well. I got good because I was playing every Sunday, and I still had to learn songs even before the Big Baptist Church. I was playing every Sunday, and I was getting better just because I was playing every week, live, in front of people. That sharpened my skill alone. And so that's one of the secrets I knew. Like, okay, well, yeah, I'll definitely let him play the gig. It was getting paid for it. So I was like, yeah, he's gonna get $50 a week at 12 years old. This is gonna be a game changer for him, sure. So we started, because at the time I stopped going to church, because I stopped playing and I stopped going to church, especially after the pandemic. And so we started going with him on Sunday mornings to this church. And so about a year or two in, my good friend was like, listen, I got a gig at another church. It's a higher paying gig or whatever, and it's more in line with my schedule, so I'm going to be leaving the church. But your son can still play there, but I don't have nobody to suggest to replace me but you. Would you mind doing it? And I really didn't want to, because like I said, I was turned off by the church already, by what I've been through or whatever. And I said, you know what? Sure, I'll do it. And so all of a sudden I'm thrusted back into playing at churches, which I said I was never going to do again. And now here I am, I'm doing it now. Well, here's the thing. For years, I didn't practice. I hadn't even touched the keyboard. I stopped playing totally. And so now I'm back in it. I'm practicing, I'm learning songs, I'm doing this all over again. And now I get the feels again. I'm like, wow, I'm starting to love the instrument again. I got to get back into this. And so just coming off the hills of being demonetized from my other channel, it was a channel about spirituality and law of manifestation and all that kind of nonsense. I said, well, you know what? Let me leverage the power of YouTube. Maybe I could build something. Not only that, like build legacy, something for my kids to see after I'm gone or something like that. Build an internet presence, build a following, monetize it. Hopefully, maybe one day even quit my job. And I've always been one to, I guess, believe in pipe dreams. When I was young, I used to love the infomercials, Don Lapre and Brad Richdale and all them jokers. At one time, I had a dream to get rich in real estate, all that stuff. And I do believe all that stuff is possible. You just got to watch out for the scammers, because there's a lot of that going around. So I've always been a dreamer, and I've always tried to, even when I was like in high school, I had a choir. My dream was to go into the studio and record an album. I kind of got to do that. I found somebody who would fund it. They took us in the studio. We even did a live recording, put out a CD. I wish we could find the CD. I can't find it. I think it got lost in one of my moves. But I always had like vision for out of the box things to do. And I always tried to work towards those goals, no matter how impossible it seemed. So I guess a little bit of my youth came back, and you get older, you forget about those things, and you're not as motivated as you were when you were younger to get those things done. And so now I felt that energy kind of come back on me. And so what I did was I used YouTube for motivation to get me to practice again. And so what I originally did, which probably did mess up the channel, I think, the new channel, the piano tutorial channel, is I started recording myself practicing, or what they call shedding. And I said, well, people sit around and people watch folk play video games. Why can't they sit and watch me practice? Well, I don't think that was the best idea. Those videos are still up. Like, it would be me practicing for 2, 3, 4 hours, learning songs and whatnot. I got some viewers, and I was getting subscribers and stuff. I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't a good idea. It's not growing fast enough. Let me try doing a gospel piano tutorial like I used to do, teaching popular gospel songs. So there's a couple of songs that came out recently, and I posted them. Now, this is risky on YouTube because I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike by playing other people's music. And with my previous channel, my very first YouTube channel, doing gospel piano tutorials, I did a Kirk Franklin song and a Richard Smallwood song, and those both got copyright strikes. I did popular songs from them. And if you know those names in gospel music, those are big names in gospel music. Richard Smallwood recently passed, had a big funeral, and Kirk Franklin is like at the height of his popularity. He's crossed over years ago. He crossed over into the mainstream like in the 90s, but he's still famous. And so copyright strike. So you gotta watch out for that. Well, thankfully now YouTube has other things like memberships and all that stuff, or you could just take them off the platform and teach them those songs so you won't get a copyright strike. So I have to be careful of what I teach on my channel because I don't want to get a copyright strike. So it's very iffy. It's very iffy. But I decided to do a couple of songs that were popular, and it got me some views. It got me like 1,000, 3,000, 4,000 views on certain videos. So it kind of started accelerating the growth of my channel by doing that again. But again, like I said, I have to be careful because I don't want a copyright strike. So what I did was I said, well, you know what? Let me start branching out into doing old hymns of the church and traditional songs of the church and learning them in every key at home. I'll practice it off camera, learn them in every key, and then I'll turn around and record the video as a tutorial of each song, but played in every key. So that's what I started doing. Now, because it isn't popular songs, these are more traditional songs, it's a slow burn. You know, every time I post one of these videos now, I'm only getting like 20 or 30 or 40. Sometimes I'll get 100, sometimes I'll get 200, sometimes I'll get 300 views. And so if you see that over and over and over again, it gets discouraging, especially when you hit like, so just recently, what helped me monetize the channel is I go to gospel concerts Me and my son will go to gospel concerts in our area. And so we live near New York, so there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. And so we've been going to New York a lot, and I've decided to take my Osmo Pocket and record the concerts. Again, this is iffy because when you're playing other people's music on video, it could get a copyright strike. But we've been going to concerts, and so we went to one concert around Christmas time. It ended up being a 4-hour video. So I posted the whole thing on YouTube, unedited or whatever. That got some good views, like 4,000, 6,000, something like that. So it got me some subs, got me some good views, no copyright strikes. We were good. All right, bet. So just recently, on Easter, there was another gospel artist named Vincent Bohannon, another popular gospel artist now, young, but very popular right now. He did an Easter concert. So I said, you know what? And he had a special guest, Corey Henry, he's big in the jazz world. He's a gospel organist, but he's big time in the jazz world as well. So I was like, I'm going to get Corey Henry playing on video. That should get me some views or whatever. Let me go ahead and record him. And so I did that. And there's a couple of other gospel artists that I recorded that get good views every time they show up on YouTube. James Hall, Vincent Bohannon, Bree Holly, and Corey Henry. And so I recorded them all. I recorded them all separately, and then I posted the videos on YouTube. Well, just like I thought, the Corey Henry video blew up. It got me to it's at 18,000 now. But all those videos took me over the edge where I was at 800 subs, and I was getting 1 sub a day, 2 subs a day from my videos that I was already doing. And I was at 3,800 watch time hours. So I was almost there with the 4,000 watch time hours on my own, doing my own stuff or whatever. And the previous concert video that had 4 hours of footage. So I was already almost at the 4,000 hour mark. But now I was just 300 away, 200 away from the 1,000 subs. And so when I posted the Corey Henry video, it took me over the edge immediately. Within a day, I was at 1,000 subscribers, and I went over the 4,000 watch time hours. I was at 5,000, something like that, 6,000. It added automatically. All those videos added 2,000 watch time hours. And so that's what sent me over the edge. It's been a month now since I've been monetized on that channel, and I made $100. And the payout on YouTube is $100, $108, something like that. The payout on YouTube is $100. So I'll be getting the payout soon with that, because people are still watching those concert videos. Actually, they're still getting views and stuff like that and watch time. Not only that, the piano tutorial videos are getting watch time hours, because if somebody sees a chord they like that I'm playing, or they see a lick I like, if they see a lick they like that I'm playing, they could rewind the video until they learn it. And so you could see that in my analytics, where people are rewinding or watching the tape over and over again. I'm talking in old language. I'm dating myself. They're watching the video over and over again at that certain place where I'm showing the special chord. So all that adds up in the watch time as well. And my videos are between 10 and 20 minutes long, sometimes longer depending on the tutorial or how complicated the song is. So that all adds up. So I was good on watch time, and I know a lot of people struggle with watch time. Here's the solution for watch time. You just have to make long videos. That's the bottom line. You're not going to get watch time with a 5-minute video. You have to do more 5-minute videos to get watch time, or 1-minute videos. I see a lot of that. And don't even bother with shorts, because that's just a waste of time. I think shorts is a waste of time to me. I've tried it twice. I've tried shorts twice. It's annoying. It's a waste of time. They don't really translate into subs. Not for me. They don't translate into subscribers for me. Okay? I might get a couple. But these are people who've been scrolling on their phone. They're not there to watch the long form stuff because you got them on the short form stuff. So like, no. I'm a long form guy, and so that's where the money is, the long form. And some shorts do 1 million or whatever, but it's not that easy with shorts. Okay, don't be fooled. Stick with the long form. That's where the money is. And that's where the watch time is too, because if you got a whole bunch of 20-minute videos and people are watching them, they're watching the 20-minute videos, then you're golden. So just make long videos. That's the key. I see a lot of YouTubers talk about, well, I got the 1,000 subscribers, but I don't have the watch time. Make longer videos. That's the solution. That's literally the solution. Make long videos. And that will get you over the edge. So those are but it came at the same time for me, luckily. It came at the same time. The watch time and the 1,000 subs came at the same time. It took me about 6 months to do it. But also, it got me back on that keyboard. It got me back on that piano. It got me honing in on my craft. Because like I said, as they say, if you want to learn something, teach it. And so it's been helping me build my skill, get my passion back for the instrument. It's definite motivation. Even when I'm tired, I'm like, okay, I gotta get to these videos. Now it's been hard because I'm a trucker. I work 12 to 14 hours a day, so that kind of sucks. That takes a lot of my time. So by the time I get home, it's like 9:30 at night, and I'm sorry, I don't have the wherewithal to do it. It takes me like an hour and a half to learn what I'm trying to teach, right? And then record it, and then edit everything. It takes a lot of time. So other than that, it still gives me motivation. I'm like, oh, I got to do this video. Even with the low views. And that's quite discouraging, because let me tell you, many times I wanted to give up. I'm like, this video only got 20 views. Keep going, because now it's not so much about the views now. It's about me holding myself accountable. It's about learning as many songs as I can in all 12 keys, which is an experiment in itself, because I'm on the journey. And now I could really speak about it. Although I know how to play in all 12 keys, but not as fluently as I want to. And so the only way to get fluent is just to keep on learning the songs in every key. And to be able to break down to my audience what every step of the way looks like in that journey. And when you get to the point of breakthrough. Right now, I'm recording it for all the world to see. It's like I'm showcasing my journey to get to point A to point B. And now, again, like I said, I think I made a big mistake when I was just showing myself practicing. I'm not showing myself practicing now. I'm showing the finished product now. I'm showing what happens after the practice, and I'm showing people how to play it instead of me learning the song and then showing them. I've already learned it. They just don't see that part. They don't see me learning it. They just see me knowing the finished product and teaching it to them. And so that makes it better. So now, because I don't want to get any copyright strikes, I only deal with hymns and songs that are in the public domain, which there are a lot of those at church. And one of the main foundations of being a church musician is you have to be able to play during praise and worship or devotional service. Well, we call it devotional service, where you play the old time songs. not these new CCM songs that they have out now, which those are pretty easy. You can just teach, you could teach different progressions in videos, which I'm starting to do now. Just teach popular chord progressions that could be used over hundreds of songs, that kind of thing. So the 736, the 251, those type of things. Instead of just teaching a song that can get you a copyright strike, start teaching the basics and the fundamentals and the progressions that help. And so now the second phase that I'm about to start going into is to teach lines, teach scales. Right now I'm working on a Drop 2 series, which is basically going through different chords and a whole bunch of chord types and chord structures. Doing that type of thing. Now they're getting low views, but I see other channels that do the same thing. Well, not the same as how I'm doing it, but they teach on Drop 2s and they're getting thousands of views. So I'm wondering why isn't YouTube giving me those same views where I'm talking about the same subject? I'm talking about it in a different way. So I'm not copying what somebody else did. I'm actually showing people, because a lot of people will say, well, take this chord and practice it in every key. But they won't show you what that looked like in every key. So what I've done is I take those chords, I'll show and teach the inversions what it looked like in every key. I'm not practicing it, but I'm showing them what to practice. And a lot of these teachers on YouTube aren't going that far. So that's how I'm different. I'm not just giving them one chord, showing them how fancy I sound when I use it, but not showing them how to do it in every key. I'm literally showing them how to do it in every key. So that's what makes my channel a little bit different. But YouTube ain't showing me no love. So I'm like, what's going on here? So that bothers me a little bit. But I'm going to keep on going because this is giving me motivation. I'm not looking at the views. I am, but I'm not. I understand that I'm doing this to hold myself accountable. I'm doing this to make myself better. And so whether I get views or not, me just doing all of this stuff in every key all the time is only going to make me better. It's only going to make me better. That's the part that's amazing about this. Whether people see it or not, the end result is me getting better. And it's something that will go on forever because there's a whole bunch of things to learn on the piano. That doesn't stop. That's not going to stop. I'm going to be learning piano I'm going to be doing piano for the rest of my life. So I can literally come up with thousands of video ideas for the rest of my life. So this is something that, and this is, you should find something that you can do well into the future. Something that you can do 20 years from now. Right? Something you can still find yourself doing 30 years from now. This is important. This is important. And so this is what is amazing about this idea. And I wish I would have thought of it sooner when I was trying to get better years ago. I wish I had something like this when I was in high school in the 90s. That would have been a game changer. I would have been in the house just practicing and doing my thing. I wish I would have had the tools that I have now. If anything else, use YouTube to hold yourself to a higher standard, to hold yourself accountable. Record your journey. I'm experimenting again. I don't know if it will work out. This channel, I'm experimenting with it. I'm going to be talking about several things on this channel, and I know it's not a good idea. But I was watching a creator, and he said something he's an older creator. And he said something that sparked my interest. He was like, post what you want on the channel. It's called YouTube. It's your channel. Don't put yourself in a box. And I kind of did some experiments with my piano channel. And like I said, I was recording concerts and I was throwing them up there. And it ends up that the concerts are getting more views than the piano tutorial videos. But again, I can't go recording concerts all the time because I could run into copyright strikes. So it's a balance. That's iffy. I can't just go ahead and just record music all the time. Because if it's somebody else's music, if I go to a Kirk Franklin concert, I can't post that. Because if I post that, I'm going to get a copyright strike. Most likely. So it's tough. It's tough. I would love to do that because I got a lot of watch time. But you know what? My channel is a teaching channel. It's a teaching channel. And it's also helping me get better. It's helping me hone in on my craft, something I haven't been able to do for all of my life now. Something that's been a struggle for me for a long time. And now I find myself at the keyboard doing what I need to do. And so I'm not going to give that up. I'm not going to give that up. I'm going to keep that going because it's only helped me, whether I get views or not. And you know what? Years later, somebody's going to stumble upon that and see all this work I've done and all 12 keys, and it's all laid out right there in front of them. They could just go through, they could pick any key, any song, and learn it and get better. And not only they see my progress, they see my transformation as well. It's a beautiful thing. And that's one thing. I know that everybody got these videos out talking about how YouTube changed my life with 1,000 subscribers. Okay, let me pitch my tent there. That's how YouTube changed my life with 1,000 subscribers. It gave me ability to hone in on my craft, to document my journey, to show my improvement. Okay, because I don't care how good you are. You could be the best piano player on the planet. You could be the best instrumentalist on the planet. There's always something to learn. There's always something to learn. You're never too good to learn something new. Never. Okay? And this is the problem with us humans. We go through school, we graduate, and we think that's the end. We don't think there's anything else to learn. You should be learning till you die. This will give you you want to know the answer to finding your life purpose? Just start learning as much as you can and continue to do that to the day you die. Don't stop learning. That will give you purpose. You want to find purpose? Just learn all the time. And we're at the greatest time in history where back in there, I remember when things was hidden. I remember when information was hidden and people didn't tell you things. I grew up at that time, especially in gospel music. These people didn't want to show you chords. Now you go on YouTube and you can learn a whole bunch. I had a hard time growing up learning my craft because I couldn't find nobody to teach me. Now you go on YouTube and you can learn for free. One musician friend of mine was like, there's no excuse for these young guys now. No excuse for anybody trying to learn an instrument. It's all there for you to do. Whether you have money or not. You could learn for free. You don't always have to go get a course. There's people teaching some good stuff on YouTube for free. how to learn how to play an instrument. And that's any instrument. Or anything for that matter, not just an instrument, just anything. Now, sometimes you got to weed through a whole bunch of nonsense. That's the part of YouTube that sucks. That, sometimes you have to search and until you find the right thing. And there's a lot of fluff on these videos. But if you find a good person on here that's teaching the right thing, man, you could be all set. And I believe I'm one of those people. I'm teaching foundational stuff. So somebody in the future, some young person in the future, that's 10 years old or 12 years old, 13, they can come and see my videos and learn the craft from the ground up, because it's basically geared towards beginners, because learning every key is a beginner thing. And it's something that never ends. I could learn this. I got a whole hymn book. I could take that whole hymn book and take it through all 12 keys. That will take a long time to do. That's going to take a long time to do. And so it's never ending. Like I could see myself on YouTube 20 years from now. I'll be around 60 something then. I could see myself 20 years from now, if YouTube's still around, and even if it isn't, I have my video saved somewhere else. I could upload it to another place, or the internet that hosts videos at the time if YouTube is gone. But I could see myself 20 years from now with all these videos, with all these songs and all these patterns and all these runs and all these scales and all these licks and all 12 keys. And somebody's learning from something that's still relevant from 20 years ago that I posted. But it helps them to get where they need to be. And with YouTube, you can also update the stuff. You can record the stuff again. So when I'm elevated in my playing, or when I'm at the next level of my playing, I could do the series over again and update the series with a better sound. So I just love it. That's how it's changing my life right now. It's making me better. It's making me practice. It's making me get consistent back on my craft. It's just overall helping me be better. Even with this I'm doing now, with this channel, I'm talking to you right now. At some point, I felt as I got older, I lost my voice. And now people are asking me to speak again and all that other kind of stuff. Now, I don't really want to be no preacher or nothing like that, because I'm a mess. I be cussing and all that other kind of stuff. And I kind of backslid from the church, But now, since I'm playing at this church again, they kind of got me back into the fold, and they found out, he a preacher, because I did get ordained years ago before I backslid or whatever. And so now they're trying to get me back in preaching mode and stuff like that. And so this is another way, being consistent and talking like I used to when I was young. I used to go into study hall and teach Bible study off the cuff. Just open up the Bible, just teach scripture, no notes, no nothing like that. Just teach off the cuff. I was like, I could talk about Jesus all day. I could talk about church all day long. But somewhere along the line, I lost that. And so I felt I lost my voice, and all of a sudden I don't have nothing to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to talk all of a sudden. And so I came up with this idea. I said, well, let me do another channel. And this is easy, because on my way to work or while I'm driving, I could just press record and start talking to you. Get those reps in. Whether you watch or not, this is practice for me. Because one of the most important skills you can have is the skill of communication. So whether you watch or not, whether you're viewing or not, ultimately what this is going to do is going to make me better. This is going to make me better in my life. This is going to give me a skill I can use. And I'm already good on stage and stuff like that. I could get up and MC programs. I've MC'd and preached, hosted programs in front of hundreds of people. That's not a problem. Public speaking is easy for me, but flowing in my speech, and I did grow up with a speech impediment. I went through speech therapy classes when I was in elementary school, so I do have speaking issues. I stutter sometimes. My words get jumbled and all that other kind of stuff. Sometimes I don't know how to properly articulate what I want to say, and so that sucks too. So I had speech problems, and I still do. School didn't correct them all. I went classes. They sent me the special classes to help me with my speech. It didn't clear it up all the way. It didn't get me 100% because I still have speech issues. But this helps me. This helps me. I get to speak, and I have a lot of issues with stuff that's going on right now, and so I could use this to vent or talk about whatever I want to talk about. So I don't know. We'll see where this goes. If YouTube accepts it or not, I don't know. But it's not about YouTube. It's about me actually honing in on my skill and ability to get better.